So good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining for part two of Fatherhood in Crisis. So last week, we talked about the impact of fatherhood that is not according to God's design. So in his book, so it's based again on this book, Fatherhood in Crisis by Father Miguel Angel Fuentes, IVE priest. And it's really shocking, the statistics that he cited. So he really went through a lot of studies, research about the impact of, having absentee fathers, having negative fathers in one's life, no? So we saw that mostly, though the statistics are from the West, no, like North America, but I can imagine that places like Asia, where we're not really like the West, no, but it's starting already. You notice how like LGUs, they already have a lot of benefits for single parents, like particularly single moms. So ibig sabihin, it is a thing, no? It is a thing that even Filipinos in a country that's predominantly Catholic, a lot of young people are growing up without fathers. And it's really, the effects are, you would say, really life changing, and not in a good way. Okay, so um, what are those effects? No, we see that, for example, in North America, two out of children will not grow up with a father figure. Okay, from counselors. Yeah, actually, that's the thing. No, it's like they're really paving the way for single parent homes to be a thing. It's like they're saying, it's okay, the state will support you. It's generally accepted now. The stigma is fading. And even on a financial perspective, they're making it easier to, yeah, to be single parents. No? And the default is often the children, if they go into custody battles, most likely they go to the mom. No? That's why the effect of not having a dad is really so, kumbaga, obvious, no? It's so overt. And that's why Father Fuentes saw that, he thought it was so important that he wrote a book about it. Okay, so, um, okay, so hypolites John. Even among seminarians, yeah, that's true. Um, I have a friend seminarian, and while his dad was there, the dad died young. And parang from his kwento, it was a dysfunctional family. Na in a way, parang subconsciously, it's like the father, maybe it was his way out, no, to escape that, because the relationship with the mom wasn't so good. But that's another thing. Anyway, so the effect is they are most likely to have addiction, children without fathers, no? Um, Prone to bullying, juvenile violence, confusion about themselves, particularly sexual identity, um, and they're most likely to drop out of school, more likely to have a child before they're 20 years old, and most likely to be idle, no? Like not to have a job or not going to school. Okay, so we saw in the book also that father was able to draw the link between the relationship of children with their fathers. If it's a good relationship, they will really learn empathy, impulse control, and emotional regulation. Okay, so before, honestly, I thought empathy is more with the mom. Yung pala it's the dad, no? Very interesting. So, yeah, if kulang tayo ng empathy, alam na natin why. But yeah, I mean, in this book also, Father says that there is hope. Okay, it's not the end of the world. And Father Miguel said that in the end, no, like especially in the years to come, in the decades to come, the future will be a question not really of race, class, education, religion, but really of patrimony. Who are the people in society who will grow up with the privilege of being with their fathers, no? And ito yung real shocker. Ewan ko if Ina will be shocked by this, no? Kasi you weren't here last week. Pero for kids daw who are growing up, it's better to parang growing up lang naman, no? Not naman with adults. No? It's better that a child grow up without the mom than without the dad. I'm like, what? Siyempre, beyond naman the, ano, no, the, like, the 1 to 3 years old kasi they really need the mom for breastfeeding and bonding. Pero after that certain age, it's really the dad. Shocker. So, I think it's really connected theologically, no, na that's why pala, you can, in a way, no, you can just really believe, for example, or have a close relationship with, or have faith in God the Father. Pero maybe, maybe you also venerate Our Lady, pero maybe not as much. It's still okay. Pero syempre, the best, optimal yung, you also have Marian devotion. So, that's so interesting. Okay. And the whole impact of this, the consequence actually is that it has consequences on our faith life. No? How we have a relationship with our earthly father influences how we have our relationship with our God the Father in heaven, no? The eternal Father. So I wanna quote Tony Anatrella, no? Social scientist whom Father Miguel quotes a lot in this book. He said, many people feel torn between the positive and negative images of their experiences with their fathers. This conflict with such contradictory desires can be transferred to God the Father by means of projective interpretation. Some are some are distressed by the very idea that God could be a father to the point of fleeing from him. Okay. Some are distressed by the very idea that God could be a father to the point of fleeing from him. So we could say, no, that if there's someone who's struggling with their faith, it's like they can't really have a relationship that's stable, a deepening relationship with God. It could also be because they have a very wounded relationship with their father, no, and that needs healing. So later on we'll talk about that part also. So the question now is, because since this is part two, no, how to recover fatherhood? No? How do we address this crisis of fatherhood? So I'm really blessed to have reading this book as my assignment. And I can say that it's relevant, not just for fathers, but anyone who has a father, is a mother, and is, married to the father of her children, looking to marry, so you know now what kind of man to look for. This part is gold. Okay, you can really, in a way, understand what matters, no, in building the domestic church, which is the home, the family. So what are we really looking at? But before that, we'll look at and try to remember these three things, no, that Father Fuentes also wants to stress that we need to remember. Okay. And that is we are living in a culture of death. Okay. So the world around us, even mass media, even the movies, the trends, okay, what celebrities do, even civil laws, in a way, they're really trying to break down the family. And men, they have to fight for their fatherhood. They have to fight to reclaim it. And the women, all of us and the men who are present here should support them in this quest, okay, to regain fatherhood and to preserve it and to even enrich it even more. Okay, so what are those three things? First is fatherhood is a reality in the natural order. Okay, it is a reality in the natural order that can't really be replaced by the state. Okay, we know how in the West there are many moves to kind of minimize the role of fathers and to somehow downplay how important what they do is, no? And it's sad, no? Pero what they really want to highlight is motherhood. And that's a good thing. We're not saying that mothers are not important. But if you really read this book, in a way, it's really saying that fathers are so important to the well-being and ultimately to the salvation of of people. Okay, especially young people who we could really say they're so dependent on the adults in their lives, no? Especially their parents. Okay, so Susan, we're living in a culture of death breaking down the family. Ah, okay. Are you taking notes? Okay. So, second is fatherhood is a gift and a vocation. Okay, so we all know that, and we need to understand that that is something that God has designed and given to us, no? Fatherhood. So if we're men, and we are married, we have children, it could also be spiritual fatherhood. For the women here, it means we were begotten of a father, and that's also a gift, no, that we have to cherish. And I think one thing also this talk is encouraging us to do is to be thankful for the fathers that God has given to us, because though they may not be perfect, of course, they're not Saint Joseph, even more so, even less so God the Father, no? But we know that they tried their best, no? To the best that they could be there for us. They really tried to be the best fathers that they could be. Okay. Number three is all fatherhood comes from God. Okay. All fatherhood comes from God. So tip to, I don't know, those who are looking to get married, and maybe those who are married already, if we want our spouses, you guys want your spouses to be better fathers, then it's key to understand that it's a grace, no, that God gives, that men become fathers, live out their fatherhood according to God's design, also through grace. Okay. So we pray for Saint Joseph's particular intercession for this. As we said a while ago, bad experiences with our fathers can be reversed. Okay, so we can't, be all in the victim complex na. Kasi ganito, this is what my dad did, this is what my father did. Or it could be even ongoing na, your father is still like that. No, na, when will it stop? Maybe I can forgive when he isn't like that anymore. Or, sana ganito na lang yung tatay ko, ganun. Or, we could be, wanting to just distance ourselves, or maybe we're outwardly critical of them, or we refuse to be associated with them, or maybe I know we're very like measured in our relationship with them na hindi, I'll only do this very small piece of my like obligation to my father, kasi nga we feel like they're not they're not that okay fathers. They don't deserve, my devotion and affection. Okay, so later, Father Miguel will say more about that, how we can reverse those bad experiences. with our fathers. So I wanna quote this line from Kentinich, also another writer that Father Fuentes cites here. Um, the human father is in every way the most marvelous transparency of God the Eternal Father, and the most direct one, even when there is deformations in the transparency, that in according with the with the psychic law of transference of emotions are also applied to God. Okay, so the human father in every way is the most marvelous transparency of God, the eternal Father, and the most direct one. Even when there's deformations in the transparency, that in accordance with the psychic law of transference of emotions are also applied to God. So basically, whether we like it or not, we're stuck. We're stuck with our fathers, no? And I'm sure we learned so much from them. We were so influenced by them. We were so blessed by them, though maybe obviously they were not perfect, but for good or for bad, how we see God, no, subconsciously is molded by our relationship with our Father. Okay, so um, I remember this talk I had on Friday, yeah, with um, someone. Baka makilala niya pa. Um, so this friend of mine, his best friend's brother committed suicide. And he was really so devastated. Not my friend, his best friend's brother. And he was just 17 years old. And he came from a single parent home. You know, when he told me that, I was like, shucks, this is my talk. This is the crisis of fatherhood talk. This is so sad. He hung himself in the bathroom in his tita's house because he lived there with his brother. But that night, my friend and his kuya, they hung out, no? Like they hung out with friends. So the younger brother was alone at home and he hung himself with, you know, the plastic, the striped red and white plastic, the big plastic that you use for whatever. If you're buying a lot of stuff, you use that. He put it over his head, then he put helium, and then yun, he hung himself from, I don't know from what beam of the CR. But before that, he wrote notes in on Facebook. You know, the kind that's only visible to you. Like if you only put the setting only for me. And he left his suicide note there. No? So he talked to everyone, like the mom, the kuya. But what really struck me was his message to his dad was, kung kaya lang kitang mayakap ulit ng isa pang beses. Grabe, alam mo, parang nakaka-affect kasi parang sabi ko, it's so sad na there are so many young people who are experiencing this. And parang it's really nakakayak, sorry. It's really diabolical. Parang, can you imagine? Parang, actually, the trigger was, ano lang, grades. Pero yun na yun eh. Yun yung sign na he had no foundation because he didn't grow up with his father. Tapos parang it's so, sabi ko, ano ba to? Parang, it's diabolical kasi 17 years old, you'll kill yourself over grades because you never had the experience of that foundation of having a father who will reassure you that whatever happens, everything will be okay. Because that's essentially what a father does. Eh. Yung he's just there. Sometimes he's just silent. Pero that foundation of fatherhood is the one that kind of like imprints in us that whatever happens, everything would be okay. And our young people, they don't have that. So sabi ko, Lord, ano naman ito? It's so, wala, nag-iyakan kami ng friend ko. And sabi ko, ah, what is it that, we can do from our own, from our own corner in the world, no? We're not naman all called to do great things, but what can we do? Okay, so we need to bring back the qualities that God the Father has. And Father Miguel, of course, these are not exhaustive, pero he mentioned five qualities of God the Father that fathers should um, exhibit, no, or live out. Okay, and the first is immutability. Okay, immutability. So for the moms here, you can now pray more specific prayers, no, for your spouses to be like this. And for the single people, you can observe now. Is the one that you're dating or you're in a courtship with, or maybe your boyfriend is like this, no? And if not, you can start praying now that he will be a good father by having these qualities. Okay, first is immutability nga. So what does immutability mean? It's that quality of God that makes him unchanging. Okay, he doesn't change. No? So if we've heard God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, that's God the Father. And in a way, fathers are called to be like this, okay, to be stable. And we're not talking about inflexibility, no? The person who doesn't listen to reason, or someone who's inflexible. But more or less, a good father doesn't change in his core principles, in the values that he believes in, and in major decisions. No, like for example, a father says, my children will not live in with their boyfriends or girlfriends before marriage. Non-negotiable. I don't care if you're so in love; it's not going to happen. Okay, so that's a good father. Um, in other news, so I also have a friend na he recently, not naman recent, no, a few years na, has a girlfriend, pero started living in with a girlfriend. And of course, we're not judging them, pero nagkikwento siya eh. And I got sad because in his story, in his kwento, his girlfriend's parents are very religious. Serving in the church, laman ng simbahan. So talaga parang inwardly, parang bakit pinayagan ng parents? Parang, kasi my friend is living with the girl. In short, it's the parents' house of the girl. And I'm like, why? I cannot. Though kami, the friend group, we're, like, exhorting him, you gotta get married. Though. But I really wanted to have a violent reaction. Like, why are you, what the heck, bro? Though my friend also has like an irregular life eh. His mom had children with different men, three different men. So parang, how can you even begin? It's like, and he doesn't even he's not even Catholic. So it's so complicated. Anyway, so basically, fathers who, you know, um, will be fickle-minded, always changing their mind based on their mood, based on what's uso, or it's okay to live in now, it's not a big deal. Like what Nadine Lustre said, no? Ano ba yun? 2023 na. Or was it 2024 na? Something like that, no? Some things should not change, okay? And fathers, good fathers, should know what those are. Okay, like church on Sunday, the very bare minimum. No? Pero in your home, in your family life, this should be something that's there. And I'll quote Father Fuentes, no, he said, a changing father, one who is insecure, fickle, inconstant, unpredictable, indecisive, has no authority. Okay? He has no authority. And eventually, if he lives like this, he will pass on to his children the same insecurity and disorientation later in life. Okay, maybe it might not exhibit um, right away, but these children, without even understanding why, they will be as unstable in their own lives. Okay, and we don't want that. And personally, I've read that children, they don't really need much. Sometimes parents think, oh, they have to be entertained. Oh, give them phones, let them do that. They actually crave boundaries. They need boundaries. It's what makes them feel secure. Okay, they can't really verbalize it, but children who have no or little boundaries, they have even greater anxiety because they think like, oh no, what's happening? No, I think my dad gave this example. I don't know if he saw it on Facebook, pero it's like this daw eh. Imagine you're on a plane. Have you guys been on a plane before? And there's turbulence. Okay, it's like, oh my gosh, like you think you're gonna die. What is the very calming response that you want to hear from the cockpit, no, from the pilot? It would be, okay, we are experiencing some turbulence that now, ladies and gentlemen, please settle down and fasten your seatbelts. We will uh, be putting on the, what do you call this? That sign. Basta yung you can't stand up sign. Okay. And in a way, you're calming because you feel like, okay, there are boundaries. Everything's gonna be okay. I just need to obey. Just like someone is in charge. Imagine if the pilot says something like, guys, there's turbulence going on, and you know, you can do what you want. We actually invite people into the cockpit to figure out how to run this thing. There are no rules, just make it up along the way. You're free to do what you want. Like, what on earth is happening? Maybe to act out, some people will be like, what on earth? Like, and maybe children, they will, try to test the boundaries by being really unruly. But inside, they will be at peace and secure if they know that someone is in charge and that they just need to follow boundaries and rules. Okay. So that's how important immutability is. Second is omnipresence. And that is the quality of God that allows him to be everywhere. Okay, all at once. But of course, that doesn't mean that fathers have to do this because it's physically impossible. But it means that as much as possible, they are present in the lives of their children. And I'm not talking just about graduation, piano recital, birthdays, but ordinary moments. Okay? I think a good barometer would be, is your child now still open to talking to the father of the home? No. Or hmm, you don't want to talk to your dad kasi parang he's not naman interested, or he's wala. he doesn't know how to engage, or literally he's not present because he's somewhere else. Okay. Um, that's the reality, no? That's the sad reality of a lot of young people, that there's this channel on YouTube. I think the title is Dad How Do I? I could be wrong. I'm just trying to remember the specific channel. But it's this YouTube channel that is all about like life skills that young men would have learned from their dads, but maybe they didn't grow up with their fathers. No? So there's like, Dad, how do I change my tire? Dad, how do I um you know what do you call this? Like fix my necktie, things like that. And this channel has millions of subscribers. Basically because a lot of people, young men there, really never had the chance to be guided by their fathers. No, and um that's why being present is so important. And we realized that okay, maybe the father of the home really has to work somewhere, no? So they have to, in a way, compensate, no? Meron bang regular calls, no? Are there like shared times for prayer? Okay, kasi time passes us by, you know? And then we're so caught up in, okay, the practical things na we don't realize na the kids, lumaki na sila, ganun. And it's like we just got used to the absence. Okay, and as we're learning now, no, the presence is so important. So going back to my friend's best friend's younger brother committed suicide. That night kasi, they went out, diba? They hung out at my friend's place, and he started blaming himself now na, what if we didn't go out that night, no? Maybe my brother would still be alive kasi he was all alone that night. No? So, anyway, I told him it's not your fault, no? Pero, yeah, sometimes it's just the sad fact that maybe young kids are used to being alone now. And yeah, we don't know that they're going through something. We don't know that they're going through a lot, that they're not, kasi they don't talk about things anymore. At home, much less with their parents. Okay, so if you guys remember Don Bosco's preventative system, you know how one of his philosophies was really, from the start, try to prevent young people from sinning. Okay, and that's why, Don Bosco taught his priest, no? He said the director must live entirely dedicated to his pupils, and he must never accept any task that would separate him from his duty. Okay. The director meaning like the director of the school, like a Salesian school. Um, so it means that this is just a school director, but Don Bosco feels like his commitment should be total. So what more parents, no? What more fathers, okay, that even if they work, no, they should find ways, to really still be in like the inner circle of his children, that if there's something wrong, that child will still go to him with his problems or her problems. Um, kasi sad if, you know, it's like our children never really learned to tell us about things. Okay. So that's for the parents, no? Um, and we realize, Father Fuentes also says, children are more important than work, entertainment, or social engagements. Okay. So That's number two, omnipresence. Number three is God is omniscient. Okay, God is omniscient or all-knowing. Of course, fathers can't know everything, but to the degree that they can, fathers should know how their children are doing. Okay, like what are they going through? Are they in love? Do they have crushes? Is someone bullying them at school? What subjects are they struggling with? What's their personality? What do they care about? Okay, what are their hobbies? Okay. And Father Fuentes asked this very important question. He said, if fathers don't know their children, who will know them? Okay. If fathers don't know their children, who will know them? And I think this is where, you know, how it has become a cliche, no? Pero parang, if children don't find love at home, they will try to find it somewhere else. And I think this is true for both boys and girls, no? So while they are young, no, especially for fathers, no, kasi they work it, no? So it's like the roles already make it hard for them to know their children, but there has to be ways so that they can still have that connection. Okay. Um, and I think culturally it's challenging because maybe they also grew up with that kind of just silence, non-engaging thing. Maybe their fathers were just the silent providers. So now that they are fathers, they don't know how to do it any differently. No? But I believe that people can learn, no? And people can adjust their behavior. Especially that, you're building a home, no? You're developing and helping young people and young souls grow up, love God, then you're like a missionary. The orientation is missionary. It's like you're open to do new things for the salvation of souls. And the first and foremost souls that we should be saving are those closest to us. Okay. Um, Number four is God is holy. Okay. This naman can be seen in the Father's aspiration to holiness and virtue. No? So young people, single people, is the guy you're interested in aspiring to holiness? And for the wives here, are your spouses aspiring to holiness? Or are they like coasting along, just going through Sunday mass, just trying to do the very bare minimum, no? Um, that's a tragedy. Okay. And I think, I was struck by the example of Saint Louis de Martin, the um not de pala. Saint Louis Martin, no de. The father of Saint Therese. I think she's a good example, no, of someone who really grew up with a good father. And I remember this. I'm not sure where it was. Maybe it was an article. Pero that time, Saint Louis already had dementia. Grabe, it was so heartbreaking. Para sabi ko, parang hindi ko yata kaya. Like, oh my gosh. I think it was the time that he was already in that asylum eh. Kasi he's already has dementia and I think the daughters were already leaving one by one to go to the convent. And then Saint Louis, it's like he would go in and out na of like lucidity. You know how patients with dementia are. And I think it was the last time that Saint Therese saw her father. Tapos, parang Saint Louis, naiyak na naman ako. Si Saint Louis was just like, wait lang, ano ba yan? I was just pointing upwards. Do you guys know that? Yes, parang basically he was saying na, I think it's like we're gonna meet in heaven or parang the goal is to go to heaven. And wala na. That was the last time they saw each other. And the next time na would be in heaven. So that is the kind of example that fathers should give their children. Um, Father Fuentes said, the root of chaos in the home, I'm rephrasing na. Basically, the root of chaos in the home is essentially the parents' rejection of the pursuit of holiness. This is so true. You know, my dad is a psychologist and parang sometimes he'll tell us about cases. Siyempre not with the names, no? Pero maybe it's also his way of processing. Pero he'll tell us about, okay, I have this patient now, and then he's gonna give some details. Pero I'm really sure he doesn't remember kasi sometimes he literally meet patients and then he doesn't even remember na naging patient na yun. Tapos the patient's like, Doc, can you remember me? And he's like, I don't remember you. Anyway, so his main observation really is that the parents really have to double down on growing in virtue. And that's why parang psychological disorders and disturbances happen. It's basically a call to holiness eh. Kasi parang a lot of his patients, even as a psychologist, kasi he uses a psychospiritual approach. His interventions, aside from the psychological stuff, is go to confession, go to mass. And the tragedy is parents, even the really good hands-on parents, will teach their children everything, no? How to be clever, how to be smart, how to be worldly, how to be crafty, how to be wealthy even. Um, they send them to good schools. They even have like weekend mga they have sports, they have hobbies, they take up, like they learn, I don't know, dance, football, but they don't teach them virtue. They don't they don't stress how important it is. It's like the last on the important things, no? And of course, yeah, they might go to Sunday mass, go through the motions, but children are very receptive. They notice what's really important to the parents. And without much convincing, they will adopt that, no? So if they see mama, they see papa, especially papa, no? Kasi yun nga, we talked about his influence in the home. They will want to please their parents, no? So if the parents are worldly, if the parents are, just concerned with temporal things, mga bibili ng lupa or pupunta tayo sa ganyan, kakain tayo na masarap, gayahin mo si ganyan, yung anak niya ganyan. Our children will want those same things. So what a tragedy if we never taught them that the best thing and really the most important thing is to be saints. Okay, so for the single people, yeah, you also notice this about maybe the person courting you or your boyfriend. Is this the most important thing to him? Okay, so that's something to think about. And lastly, God is merciful and just. Okay, God is merciful and just. So we see this in the father who knows how to discipline his children, but also knows them well enough to recognize when to punish the child is actually not beneficial. No? Because that's the definition of mercy, no? That it's recognizing that punishment would actually be harmful to the child. Okay, so the child should see in his father discipline not out of anger, but out of love. Okay, and I remember when I was younger, I have a younger brother, and we would always get in trouble because I would bully him a lot. Kasi for a long time, I was the youngest. So when he came after 5 years, I was really annoyed. I was no longer the center of attention. So one time, my dad, his punishment for us was to stand on a chair like a stool and to hug each other. So parang it's like a core memory because I really remember it vividly, no? So my dad really also knew us. He knew what would work on us. So standing on the chair, we ended up laughing and then getting reconciled. So that's what a good father does. No, he doesn't let us, just like let us do our thing, which is a challenge for a lot of us today. Kasi some parents think that punishing a child is like not loving them. It's actually the opposite, 'di ba? The Bible says, parang spare the rod, to spoil the child. Pero the better translation daw is, according to Father Ripperger, spare the rod, hate the child. So it means if you don't discipline your child, it means you hate them because you don't want them really to do good. No? You want them to just deteriorate into laziness and disorder. Okay, so what is a good father? Um, Essentially, they're men who mirror God the Father in our lives. Okay, and this is the ending of Father Fuentes. Grabe, it's so insightful, no? Father Fuentes said, now, this is a word for those of us who are maybe still struggling to forgive our earthly fathers, no, for their faults. Maybe it's ongoing, no? It's like, tanda na niya, why doesn't he learn, no? Or maybe even now we are already parents, but it's like we have this sense that we don't fully forgive our earthly fathers. Father Fuentes says, um, we tend to reproduce in our lives the defects and vices we criticize without forgiving in others. Okay? We tend to reproduce in our lives the defects and vices we criticize without forgiving in others. Okay, so what does that mean? Basically, if you don't forgive your earthly father, the curse is parang may God also has his poetic justice, no? We will end up becoming what we hate, no? The very quality that we dislike or hate or despise in our earthly father, if we don't forgive them, we ourselves will become like them. Grabe, no? Um, so Father Fuentes says, no, that's why many men who beat their wives and children are sons of those who did the same, no? So they're also sons of fathers who beat them and their mothers. And those who maybe had adulterous fathers and they grew up, they saw their mother crying, and they even swore, "No, I will never be like that." But they never forgave their fathers. They will end up becoming just like their fathers. Okay, so it's a good it's a good reflection for us. What is it that we haven't forgiven our fathers? Maybe this is also applicable for mothers on this part. There's no Virtus series on motherhood, sorry. But I think we will do one on the virtuous woman. But that's next week. So but we can make that reflection. what is it that our parents did to us? Maybe they still continue to do to us, no, that we still have not forgiven them. Definitely, it's not easy. Okay, it may even be really impossible, no, for our weak, um, defective hearts, no. But we pray for the grace that God will be able to mold our hearts to forgive them, because that in itself, that holds our own freedom from the cycle, that maybe has been going on from generations. And we've heard of that, no, that phrase, no, break the cycle. No? It stops with me. And I think that's very hopeful. It's a message of hope that nothing is really impossible with God. And He makes all things new. Um, I have this really just came to my mind, no. In our community, I think some here are from couples for Christ. Pero we have this tita who she always shares in conferences. Pero I think hers talaga grabe. Para if you can top that, my gosh, you're really like sainthood level already. Her father, from the time I think parang she was a teenager, I think 15, would bring her, no, because the parents were separated. She moved in with the father, with their family already. Would take her from school, would bring her to some location, she's not sure. She was still young, no? Would blindfold her and then sexually abuse her. So this went on for years, no? I think si Mrs. Chua knows this story, no? And that went on for years, no? So she was raped by her own father. And oh, grabe when I think about it. Grabe, the things that the devil does to really distort and destroy fatherhood. It really messed her up, no? She became a lesbian, and it gave her so many reasons to rebel, to be magkalat talaga sa life niya kasi nga who can recover from that, no? She was blindfolded, so parang in a court of law, it would be so hard to build a case, no? Pero who else? Like, how else can you explain it, no? So it was really the dad, no? She got married, she had kids, pero she's really struggled with this burden, no? So even her relationship with her husband, it's really affected kasi he's also a man, no? So rape is already horrible. Can you imagine if it's your own father? But
You done? Nakakount?
in a few, no, we're not done yet. In a few years, the father is on his deathbed. And that tita, di mo alam to? Oh my gosh. That tita, she knew, no, parang she knew that she had to go. She went to him. He's already, no, in the final, like the death throes. Have you guys seen someone dying? Grabe, I've seen it twice, like two of my lolas. It's chilling, nakakilabot. Yung parang, you can see the face, the face looks different na kasi it's like the life is being sucked out of them. She was just crying. And then I don't remember the exchange, no, pero essentially she told him, I forgive you. Grabe, ibang level. It's possible to forgive. Okay? So, um whatever it is, no, whatever it is that we're carrying, um know that healing can happen. Okay? And God can actually reverse, no, those bad experiences. So that tita now, there was a time parang we were looking for someone to be interviewed by GMA on divorce. So I got her to actually guest on that show. And she has every K kasi she really went through a lot in her marriage and they were really on the brink of separation. So she was a very credible person talaga. So because of her experiences, she was able to share her story um, to a lot of people. And she's one of the most inspiring and lovable titas that I know. Um, so yeah, we believe and we end this really happy, grateful, and blessed for the fathers that we have, and especially for our eternal Father, no, who is our foundation, who is the one who affirms us that whatever happens, everything will be okay. He holds us in the palm of his hand. So, with that, thank you guys. Thanks for listening.